If I were to ask you who the richest family in the world is, what would you say? Maybe the Carnegie family, the Rockefellers, maybe the English royal family, or maybe you watch a bit more TV than most and think it may be the Kardashians. While these are all pretty solid guesses, they aren't exactly right. If you go and do a quick Google search for who the richest family is, you'll find that it's the Walton family, the owners of Walmart. But this is likely not completely accurate, and they are not the family that this video is about. The family that we're going to show you today is one so strange and shrouded in so much mystery that no one knows exactly how wealthy they really are. This family would be none other than the Rothschilds. You've probably heard this name before, and you may even know that this family is one of such significance that they have been linked to many conspiracy theories. Today, we're going to try to visualize just how wealthy the Rothschilds may be. But first, we're going to take a look at some of the dark conspiracies that they are rumored to be linked to. There are numerous conspiracy theories out there that suggest that the world's governments are controlled by a small group of people. Almost all of these theories point to the Rothschilds. They suggest that this extremely powerful family is lurking in the shadows, organizing and executing all the massive changes going on in the world, such as racial oppression, financial crisis, war, and a whole list of other things. The wildest of these theories even suggests that this wealthy family even controls the weather. One of the more common conspiracy theories, though, is that of the Illuminati. If you do just the slightest amount of research on the Illuminati, it will not take you long to start finding details about the Rothschilds. Now, none of this is factual and you are free to believe whatever you want, but just remember that there is an overwhelming amount of people that believe that the Rothschild family controls every change in the world today. But that's enough about conspiracies. Let's take a look at the insane amount of wealth that they have in their possession. The primary cause for all the speculation around this family is their uncoincidental connection with almost all of the world's banks and their attempts to control every single one of them. One of the most documented members of the Rothschild family, Nathan Rothschild, once stated, "I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I control the British money supply." Now, if that's not at least some evidence that the Rothschilds have, or at least have had control of some of the world's major banks, then I don't know what is. The Rothschilds made their debut in history in the 1760s, when Mayer Amschel Rothschild started his first venture into the banking business. Since this historical date, banking has been this family's primary focus ever since. Mayer Amschel was quite successful to say the least, and upon his death, he left his entire fortune to his 5 sons. All 5 of these sons strategically established themselves in the banking industry as well in major cities across Europe such as London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples. By the 19th century, this family had grown the largest private fortune in the world, controlling major banks all across Europe. Shortly after, many of the Rothschilds held a status of the likes of royalty, and they began to diversify their assets into many other sectors to grow their wealth even more. Just a select few of the various ventures that the Rothschilds have their hands in are financial services, mining, energy, real estate, winemaking, farming, and non-profits. But before the Power family dipped their toes into nearly every industry on Earth, they accomplished many other things. As we mentioned before, this family is shrouded in so much mystery that it is quite difficult to distinguish what exactly is historically factual and what is merely conspiracy. But we're going to do our best to point out which tales are a bit out there and which ones have been supported by historians. One thing that is backed by historians is that this family played an integral role in Napoleon's historical defeat at Waterloo in 1815. At the time of Napoleon's campaigns, the Rothschilds were already extraordinarily rich. It is reported that Nathan Rothschild, the one who said the quote previously mentioned, entered the war in 1813 to finance the British and help end the war. The amount of cash that he provided at the time would be roughly the equivalent of $900 million today. He sent these massive payments through the shipment of precious metals to the army spread across Europe. Nathan likely even knew about Napoleon's defeat before the officials did, thanks to his extremely reliable system of couriers. Before his affairs in the Napoleon Wars, Nathan Rothschild was involved in many other activities such as buying up government bonds and later selling them for a 40% profit. The exact amount of money that he made off this endeavor is unclear, but if he considered it worth providing $900 million to England, then I'd say it was a pretty hefty amount. One of the ways that the Rothschilds diversified their wealth was by purchasing exotic animals. One of the Rothschilds, Lord Walter, always had a deep fascination with animals, so he did what every other animal lover would do. He took the money that he inherited and ended up owning the largest zoology collection belonging to a private individual. One of the most iconic things that Lord Walter was known for was his caravan that he would drive around, which was pulled by 4 zebras. Not only was this him flexing his wealth, but he also proved that it is possible for wild animals to be obedient. Another thing that the Rothschilds got into was mining. It is said that the family backs the Rio Tinto, an Australian mining company. The Rio Tinto is worth billions of dollars and is one of the world's leading producers in iron ore, copper, uranium, coal, and diamonds. Along with the family's help of beating Napoleon, they are also connected to the independence of Brazil. The country of Portugal demanded 2 million sterling before they would agree to sign over Brazil's independence. But since Brazil was under the rule of Portugal at the time, they had no way of coming up with the money. This is where the Rothschilds stepped in and paid the entire 2 million sterling to the Portuguese government. But don't think that this was just an act of kindness from the Rothschilds. They did in fact make Brazil pay them back, but they let them do it over an extended period of time and they charged interest. One of the craziest ways that the Rothschilds had shown off their massive influence is by setting the price of gold. From 1919 to 2004, the Rothschilds would meet with the other leaders of the gold industry and literally set the price of gold. These meetings were hosted by the Rothschilds themselves, and they would proceed to make the price of gold whatever they wanted. This is kind of crazy when you think that gold is the structure of most economies and the family owns so much of it, they basically controlled it. The Rothschilds didn't stop at mining though. They have been in the winemaking business for 150 years. The family owns an abundance of wineries in France. Among these are, and please excuse my French, the Chateau Clairion, the Chateau de la Mouette, the Chateau Rothschild d'Armenvillas, and many more. Their wines at the original two wineries are classified as wines from the Bordeaux region of France. Along with having connections with the royal families of Europe, the Rothschilds are also said to have had a connection with the Vatican. Around the year of 1861, it is said that the Rothschilds paid a ton of loans to kings across the land that is now known today as Italy. The Italian aristocracy did away with this attempt of unification made by the Rothschilds, and they made them turn to the Bank of the Vatican after their bank in Naples was being forced to shut down. However, this bank did not close and Italy ended up being unified. The conspiracy believed by a lot of people is that the Rothschilds, along with the Vatican, arranged Italy's unification. This has caused a lot of political issues and made the Rothschilds' legacy even more interesting. Another person of power that the family had connection with was the Pope during that time. Just a couple of years later, the United States fell into a recession and the Rothschilds would once again save the day. Before the Great Depression, America was experiencing a gold shortage which led to their first recession. President Grover Cleveland contacted J.P. Morgan along with the Rothschilds in an attempt to fix this issue, and these two agreed to bail him out. This is what leads people to believe that the US is just one string of the Rothschilds' web of influence. One of the things that was most shocking about this family is just how good they were at hiding their wealth. The main way they did this was through diversification into a number of different things. But it is because of what I'm about to tell you that makes people come to believe that the Rothschilds are the richest family to ever step foot on this planet. It is said that the Rothschilds' total wealth is well over $1 trillion. Members of this family are hardly ever seen in public, but when they are surrounded by multiple bodyguards and they travel with multiple black SUVs that resemble the Secret Service. All of these things combined make the Rothschilds a good option when questioning who is really in charge. They are believed to have influence on the president and run the world's banks. At this point, it's pretty hard not to wonder just how powerful this family really is. So, what do you think? Are the Rothschilds the most powerful family to ever exist? Do you think they really have this much influence? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out some of the other videos on our channel. As always, this has been Luxury Lab, and we will catch you in the next one.